Hello, this is Brenda Underwood coming to you live tonight to talk about work-life balance, how to set boundaries, how to protect your time so that you can protect your peace. We're here to equip you with the tools you need to win from the bedroom to the boardroom. And so this is a live series that we are doing until I exhaust the subject. So you'll want to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get live alerts when I'm going live and what topics I'm going to be talking about. And today we're talking about protecting your time so that you can protect your peace of mind. Anybody out there looking to get some peace of mind in their life? Well, I want to give you the tools that you need to help you win from the bedroom to the boardroom. So, when we are looking at life is a bucket of 24-hour segments. And so we're going to talk about some common concepts with time management, and we are going to talk about some uncommon concepts with time management. And if you're joining me, please never hesitate to leave questions in the comments. I'd like to help you directly on the issues that you are struggling with particularly. So if you have some comments, I'll be more than happy to drop into those comments and give you some solutions. So first off, we're going to start with protecting your time. The 24 hours a day that you have is evenly split into 8, 8, and 8. 8 hours you sleep. And let me talk to you about the importance of sleep. The importance of sleep is not lazy time. It is the time that your body uses to regenerate itself. It's the time that you use to sharpen and get the focus for your brain cells. Mel Robbins has some great information out there about what happens when you don't get enough sleep. Brandon Burchard is another great resource on what it takes to get a good, sharp mind. Your body thrives on habits because habits reserve energy. And so when we have the habit of going to bed at the same time, the habit of waking up at the same time, we put ourselves into a rhythm that allows our brains to be sharper than it would on its own. So if you're here and you are seeking to win at life, welcome to the Winners Club. This is where winners come to win at life from the bedroom to the boardroom, particularly helping women win and a few good men. And so I like to start my lives out going straight into the business. We are not here to play games and we're not here to goof around. We are here to get her done, hun. And so let's get right on into it. I want you to think of your time as buckets. Like I just indicated, 8 hours you sleep, then 8 hours you work. If you do not work, you do not eat. That's according to scripture. So working is a great resource for you to take care of your lifestyle. And we want to make sure that you're doing the work that sets your soul on fire, the work that is going to fuel your creativity, the work that you're going to fuel, that is going to fuel the quality of life that you want. Then you're going to spend 8 hours doing life. That's family time, that's eating, that's working out. Those are the three buckets of time that you get. And if you would treat your time like most people, and I won't say everybody because some folks are not good at budgeting their money, but if you budgeted your time the way you budgeted your money, how much money would you be able to make? So when we look at protecting our time, there's the common stuff that goes out there. Hold on, there's a few people I already see I'm gonna need to block from my YouTube channel. Y'all can't be cussing and fussing and acting a fool. I'm a Christian coach. Now I may, use some flavorful words from time to time, but we are never going to put that out in the open. So if you curse on my page, you will get blocked. I have no problem with the block and the delete button. So let's just keep it honest. Let's keep it nice and let's keep it friendly and curse free. Can we do that? Thank you so much. Okay, now let's get into this. Protecting your time. When you are protecting your time, I'd like to talk about time in those buckets of 8, 8, and 8. When you have a bucket of 8, 8, and 8, and you're very clear, this is the time I'm going to sleep, this is the time I work, and this is the time that I'm going to do life, then you can set boundaries around that. Well, Brenda, my job requires a lot out of me. Honey, This is where on the job, you are going to need to get efficient, you're going to need to get automated, and you're going to need to be resourceful on the job. When you're working on a job, you really are working within a community sale, and you need to see where you can utilize those sales best for your benefit to help you keep your work within a 8-hour segment. Or if you're an attorney and you signed up to be a trial attorney, then you signed up to have some unbalanced work-life balance. I remember just the other day I was watching a video of a billionaire, and he talked about how being in the investment business, he does financial investing. He said, look, this is not a work-life balance type career. So when you're selecting your career, you want to select your career based on what kind of work-life balance you want and the quality of life. There are certain fields, a surgeon, no work-life balance. A detective, no work-life balance. There are certain fields that you get into, they're not going to have work-life balance. But how can you have balance and still have a career you love? You may be called to be a surgeon. Then you have to set your priorities. I'm a big believer, and you'll hear me say this every time I talk about time. You don't want to manage your time, you want to manage your priorities. What's a priority for you? What are your priorities? And how are you going to protect those priorities? For me, my priorities are different than your priorities, but I'd like to see somebody put what are your priorities in the chat. Tell me what your priorities are. When you have a priority, it doesn't mean that it gets all of your time, but what it does mean is it gets your quality time. Quality over quantity. We think that if it's a priority, it needs to monopolize all of our time, but it does not. Let's say, for instance, I taught on prayer this past Monday, and I said you open up your conversation with God with prayer in the morning, because his thoughts are not your thoughts and his ways are not your ways. And so you want to really protect that morning time so you can get a download from the God who created the universe so that he can fuel you with the wisdom that you need first thing in the morning, because he knows if you're going to get in a car accident at 3 o'clock. He knows if your boss is going wild out at 5 o'clock and say, we got an all hands on deck meeting and everybody got to stay late, and you looking at your watch like, bruh, my kid got soccer practice at 6:30. I got to go. God knows what is going to happen in your day. So why wouldn't you consult with the God of the universe first thing in the morning, the creator of the universe, right? We as Christians, we worship the creator, the one who created the world and the universe. We don't worship the created thing, which is the universe. So with that being said, if health and exercise, thank you, Anne, for sharing. If health and exercise and nutrition is one of your main priorities, then you may want to prioritize meal prep. You may want to prioritize getting healthy recipes for you to cook throughout the week. You want to prioritize the things that are most important to you and try to protect that time. So when we talk about setting priorities also comes with boundaries. That means, like, for instance, my phone doesn't come off of do not disturb until about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. That's because in the morning, I'm preparing, I'm getting my mind right, I'm having my first few clients, and I really don't want to be bombarded with a lot of things pulling on me first thing in the morning, because I need to be 100% mentally prepared and physically prepared so that I can give my clients the best possible result through their coaching journey with me. So because of that, I keep my phone on do not disturb. I don't have red dots all over my phone. Not everything gets to notify me. Facebook doesn't need to notify me. I don't need a red dot from Facebook. That red dot is psychologically pulling on your time and creating an anxiousness subconsciously in your mind that you're always running out of time. This needs me, this needs me, this needs me. Stop the distractions and minimize the notifications. Can someone put that in the chat for me? Stop the distractions by minimizing the notifications. Look, the only important notifications I get are the ones that come through my phone for text and for email, and that's it. Everything else, when I'm ready to get on Facebook, I'll go check Facebook out. I have a certain time that I get on social media, and it is timed, and I get off. Right? So sometimes you got to put a boundary around your distractions. It's not that you can never be on TikTok, but do you need to be on TikTok for 4.5 hours in the middle of the workday when you're trying to build your business? Probably not. So with that being said, you want to protect your priorities and protect your time. Control your notifications to stop distractions. Yes, you want to set a boundary around your notifications and get rid of those notifications so that you can protect your time and not be easily distracted. Thank you so much, Anne, for coming to me from Facebook. We should be going live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and 2 places on Facebook, my business page on Facebook, as well as my personal page on Facebook. We go live. Thank you to Restream. They are a great resource. So with that being said, let's look at one of the other buckets that I love. So now we just talked about don't do time management, do priority management. Prioritize your priorities with your time. Treat your time like a currency. Know where your bucket of 8, 8, and 8 go. Okay. So I want to share with you the life buckets. So this is a tool that I think is unique and a little out of the box, but not so far out of the box that it's going to trigger any of your fear of the unknown. Is that fair? Okay. So the life buckets tool looks something like this. Visualize your life in buckets: work life, family life, health, passion, faith, etc. And each week, assess each bucket to see if it's overflowing, if it's running dry, and how you need to adjust your focus to rebalance your life. Remember, we're talking about work-life balance, and all of these things are important to us. We already said, thou shalt not work, thou shalt not eat. I likes to eat, so I gets my work done. Family life. We're all born into a family, whether we chose them motor scooters or not. And I think sometimes we're born into families with people that we probably wouldn't pick as friends, so that God knows we'll be stuck with them and still have to love them anyway. How about that? But one thing I want to tell you guys, I was ministering yesterday to a young lady, and she said she got into a big old physical fight with her sister a couple years ago, and they didn't talk. And that through the discipleship class that I teach, she started to reconcile with her sister. And this year, when her sister reached out to her, she actually accepted the conversation. One of the things that we must learn about family is blood relations does not mean that you're going to have a closeness. I think we have a misconception sometimes that family should be tight as thieves, or, blood is thicker than water. Well, let me share with you a little concept from scripture. When Jesus was inside a meeting hall, they said to him, your mother and your brother are outside. And he said, who is my mother and my brother, except for those who follow my Father? So when you begin to look at family, sometimes just because you're blood related doesn't make you family. It makes you blood relatives. Because if there's no respect, there's no boundaries, and there is no thoughtfulness, and there is no love, then is that really family? Family doesn't get to treat you any kind of way just because you're blood relatives. Now, I'm blood relatives with a whole lot of people, and none of them have the last name Underwood except for my sister, because I carry the last name of a man who's not my father. But at the end of the day, I'm related to a lot of people, but I'm only family with the people who show respect, who show love, who respect my boundaries, and who are not going to be treating me any kind of way. When love and respect are no longer served, we really need to learn how to get up from those tables. And so when we think about our buckets of life, we have our work, we have our family. Now, some of that is going to be spiritual family. Some of that's going to be blood family. Some of that is going to be the family you've adopted. Okay. But when I say family, those are people who give you love. They give you respect. They give you honesty. They give you integrity. They build you up. They don't tear you down. People who tear you down, talk about you behind your back, mean and spiteful and disrespectful, shameful to you and thoughtless to you, they're relatives. They're not family. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your work-life balance and your peace of mind, right? So for family members that are very contentious, they don't get the same amount of access to me as family members that are friendly and loving and caring and this, that, and the fourth. You are the CEO of your life. Can someone please put that in the chat? You are the CEO of your life. And I'm not a big believer in cutting people off, but what I am a big believer in is that you are taking the time to pull back and evaluate who feeds you and builds you and who tears you down and destroys you. You want to protect your peace, identify the destroyers and identify the builders. Spend more time with the builders and less time with the destroyers. And know that when you go talk to someone who tears you down, someone who doesn't build you up, that you have to talk to them with a guard. You have to guard your mind against that type of influence. Okay. So when you're looking at your life as the CEO of your life, a CEO decides, a good CEO decides where they're going to spend their time, how much time they're going to spend there, how they're going to interact with different people. A good CEO that has 100 employees working with them, they probably talk with their main line of direct reports. They're not all the way on a front line, but let me give you a CEO tip. A good CEO, at least once or twice a year, is going to get out on that factory floor, is going to get out on that front line. Because I'm going to tell you, CEOs out there that are running companies that are 100 employees or more, your employees on the front line know more about what's going on with your business than the people up in the Ivy Tower. Because they're on the front line. They know what the clients are complaining about. They know what's going on. They know who's a good worker, who's not a good worker. I'm a big believer in CEOs coming out of their corner offices and getting on their front lines. If you're running a call center, then at least twice a year, get on the floor, take some calls like you would in a call center. Be right there side by side. Let me tell you, that's going to build some trust and that's going to build some loyalty. And you cannot force trust and loyalty. You can force compliancy, but you cannot force trust and loyalty. And when people see you side by side with them working, then you are going to build something that is going to cause them to go through the walls for you. They're going to go above and beyond for you when they're loyal to you and they're trustworthy and they trust you. Trust and loyalty are two things you cannot buy. And those are two things that you earn. So as the CEO of your life, you want to spend time where it flourishes you, not where it destroys you. And so with that being said, I want you guys to stop and look at that bucket of health. So we said, look at your life in buckets: work, family, health. Health. How are you doing with your health, beloved? How are things going on inside of your body? I'm going to try my best not to cry when I say this, but many of you guys who watched my Park Live, that was my CEO day a couple of Saturdays ago, you know that I had a cousin who was in the hospital. Suddenly, he found out suddenly that he had an illness that he didn't know he had, and now he's passed away. Literally inside of a week. I found out on a Sunday or a Monday that he was, and we were the same age, 6 months apart, that he was ill. And then I got notification on Saturday that he passed away at 7:45. So inside of a week, his health took him out. Inside of a week. How's your health, beloved? Are you eating the right foods? Let me tell you, eat what God grows. And sometimes we got to question that with the GMOs and the man-made vegetables and all that stuff. But eat what God grows. Try to eat as clean as possible. And I know in marginalized areas that is hard because they make it hard for healthy eating to be inexpensive. They make healthy eating hard on us to attain, but try your best, beloved. I got friends that grow their own gardens. I got friends that have their own chickens. I got friends I mean, I sit right next door to a man who has a gentleman farm that I'm gonna be talking to him soon about, like, can I get a half a cow from you? And I'll take it over to my butcher and he can butcher it up and that whole thing. How's your health? And your digestion starts right here in your mouth. What do you put in your mouth? Now, I just recently lost about 75 pounds. And so I'm going to tell you something that was really pivotal in my weight loss was I decided that everything that I ate wasn't going to taste good and everything that I did wasn't going to feel good. So working out don't feel good. Eating right don't always feel good. And it don't always taste good. Otherwise, I could never eat a slice of kale or spinach. But with that being said, beloved, take care of your health because you don't want to be like my cousin in his mid 50s, passing away and leaving behind a beautiful wife. And I'm just so heartbroken. I mean, literally this past Sunday, I was numb. I don't think I even got out of my bed on Sunday. I was just so in shock because he was a cousin who lived with me when he first moved to Atlanta. And it just broke my heart. So how are we doing on our health, beloved? Are you drinking too much soda? Are you eating too much processed food? If you eat dead food's going to kill you faster than a live food is. So I strongly, strongly suggest to you, beloved, that you take some time to evaluate your health. And really, I strongly suggest you guys get into some holistic health. Go visit a holistic doctor and just see what they say. I'm not saying nothing against modern medicine, except for Big Pharma owns them. And that's all I'm gonna leave it right there. So go and check out some holistic methods. I don't even take antibiotics. They tell me I need an antibiotic, I go take oil of oregano. When they were talking to me about diabetes, I said, curse that at its root, give me 60 days and I'll be back. If my AC1 is not in order, then I'll take your metformin. But guess what I got? I got me some berberine, and that's Beberin. Get you some good high quality berberine and see how that works for you. Now, let me do the disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor. So don't take my advice and use it as gold. Go check it out with your doctor or a naturopathic doctor to make sure it works with you and all of the other things you've got going on with your health. But there are healthier resources than synthetic prescriptions. So how's your health doing? You want to take an inventory of it. And if it's a priority, let me tell you, 30 minutes a day with working up a good sweat is going to do a lot for you. It's going to do a lot for you. So the next bucket is passion. Now we want to get into our passions because our passions fuel our purpose. They fuel our sense of life. They fuel our feel good. Okay. You're the CEO of your life. What are you passionate about? Angela, I'm so glad you're here. Angela's been a part of my community for a long time. Hopefully one day I'll get to sign her as a client and we'll get to working on all that good stuff to help you win from the bedroom to the boardroom. But I remember Angela used to be a part of I used to do on Tuesday nights, I used to do power laser coaching. So I would laser coach someone for 20 to 30 minutes and I could get through about 2 people and laser coach them and do a little Bible study with them on Tuesday nights in my Facebook group, The Winning Life. We may have to bring that back at some point. I'm just going to have to find a night in which to do it. So with that being said, we want to take a look at our passions. What sets your soul on fire? Do you love music? Do sometimes you want to just crank it up and just dance and just let yourself go? Are you passionate about sports? Are you passionate about playing softball? What are you passionate about? Give your hobbies a place to live. And if you're really good at your hobby, turn it into a side hustle and create another stream of income. And so when we look at that bucket of passion, we can't miss that. And let me share a personal story with you from my life. You're looking at a woman who has overcome depression and has overcome major anger management issues. And I'm hesitating because I said I wanted to stop talking about this, but God keeps bringing it up. Before the age of 26, I've had 3 suicide attempts, and I've been in a straitjacket 3 times. I'm 26 years on the other side of a suicide attempt. And if it wasn't for my son's father, I probably wouldn't be alive today, because the last suicide attempt, he found me and he got me the help that I needed. And I remember talking to my therapist, and he said, Brenda, you got to find a passion in life. Life is not all work and pay bills. That will make you dry up real fast. We now have a name for it. It's called burnout. And he said, we're not letting you out of this psych ward until you can tell me something you can enjoy. I stayed in the psych ward an extra 5 days because I couldn't find anything that I enjoyed about life. And if you've ever suffered from depression, major depression, I suffered from major depression with psychotic features, and I'm on the other side of that. I'm not on any medications. I never was on a whole lot of medications with regards to it. But one of the things that pulled me out was finding something I enjoy about every day. And so I have this apple candy jar, and I would put Jolly Ranchers in it. And every day I would take a Jolly Rancher, and I'd take 10, 15 minutes, and I would enjoy that Jolly Rancher, all the flavors of that Jolly Rancher. And I would enjoy taking a moment to reflect and find, what are the good things that happened in my day today? What are the good things that happened in my life today? Now that has grown into a passion for painting. I have a passion. I've always had a passion for music. I've also had a passion for gardening, not gardening like herbs and stuff, but I like my flower beds at my house. I dug up all the rocks. I dug until I hit cement and loaded it full of manure and all the stuff that makes roses grow good. And the first 2 things you see when you drive up to my house are 2 big, bushy, pink rose bushes. Passion fuels you past hard. Can someone write that in the chat for me? Passion fuels you past hard. And you want to find your passions in life, okay? And then your faith, whatever that is. If you believe in Jesus Christ, which is I hope that you believe in, but I respect your right to choose something other than. If it's Buddha, if it's Allah, whatever it is you believe in, your faith is very important. To believe in something greater than you is a powerful thing. And for me, my faith is everything. Seeing how my family unit isn't very close, my friends are my life. My friends are my fuel. My friends are my sounding board. My friends are my spiritual family, which is thicker than blood. I have women in my life and some men that will go through the wall for me. And I am thankful for that in my life. When we begin to look at our lives through that lens, we begin to see our lives in a different fashion. And then whatever else is extra in your life. But everybody has work, family, health, passion, and faith. Those are the 5 buckets that I really want you to take an evaluation on. And don't miss passion. Passion fuels you past the hard, and you need it. If you feel like you're burning out, find something that fuels you. Find something you're passionate about. Find something you enjoy. Well, Brenda, I don't have a clue about what I'm passionate about. Let me tell you what. Try a whole lot of different things. If you don't know if you're passionate about painting, go to a sip and paint. I know if you're in Atlanta and you live over by the perimeter, they have Eclipse de Luna. Eclipse de Luna has a paint and meal time where you can order food. It's hard to paint and order food, but they serve you little small plates, and you can eat and paint, and you have an instructor teaching you. Go out, have some fun. Take your girlfriends, take your male friend, take your husband. Go out and have some fun and learn. Maybe you want to go to a pottery class. Maybe you want to go to I went to a glass blowing class, and I got all into glass blowing, making vases that are beautiful. But girl, that's an expensive habit, so I had to let that one go and go back to my acrylic painting. But at the end of the day, you want to fuel your passion. Now we're going to talk about faith, because I'm a Christian coach, and so I really want you to really dial in to what is keeping you strong in your faith. Okay. And one of the things that I teach whenever I do a Bible study, if somebody gives me a mic to teach on it for a prolonged period of time, I am going to teach on the love triangle. And this love triangle that we have going on is going to help you protect your peace. Anybody want to protect your peace? Anybody want to protect your peace? Okay. So, I'm going to read to you from Matthew, New King James Version, chapter 22, verses 36 through 40. Now, I want you to remember the Pharisees were the religious people of the day, and they were always trying to trip Jesus up. So this is red letters. And so red letters mean a little bit more to me than all the other letters, but the whole Bible in its totality is 66 love letters to those that call upon Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. These promises are for us, okay? And so this is what it says. Matthew chapter 22, verse 36 through 40 says, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment of the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." Hang all the law and the prophets. And so when you look at this scripture, we have to understand there is an order to love, and it's a triangle or it's a stair step. Love God. And most people confuse who you love next. They confuse love yourself so that you can love your neighbor. What it says is, and the second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. So that means you must love yourself in order to love your neighbor properly. So when we look at the order of love, the order of love is love God with all that you are, and let that love fuel you. See, if you do this part of the cross right, this love relationship with you and Jesus, you get that one right, then guess what? You can get the long one. I mean, the long one is the up and down. That's the you and Jesus, just us. Jesus, just us. And then you can love others, the shorter part of the cross. You can love others more fully. When your love tank is filled up, then you can love everyone else better. And so when we get the order of love right, then we don't have a problem thinking that self-love is selfish. It is not. I often hear people say, when they say self-love, they say, well, I don't want to be selfish. Look, you are better with people when you are full in your own heart. So let's think about it. If you wait, the morning you wake up and you don't take no time for you, you just got up, rolled out of bed, half brushed your teeth, and went to the computer and started working. The moment someone gets on your nerves, what happens? You're agitated, you get sharp with them, you don't have a whole lot of patience, you don't have a whole lot of love to give. You're just, right? But the morning when you get up, and you got up an hour before everybody else in your house got up, and you took your shower, you took your time, you laid out with God, you prayed, you did your vision party with yourself. I call it the dream party with yourself. You set your intentions for the day. You decided how you wanted to feel during that day. You decided what your number one priorities were. Maybe you meditated. Maybe you practiced mindfulness in the morning. You did some self-care every day. You give to other people every day, and you need to give to you every day, because it's not selfish. Self-love is how you live selfless, not selfish, because you want to give from a cup pouring over. You don't want to give from an empty cup. So when we look at protect your time to protect your peace, one of the common things is to prioritize self-care. You want to prioritize your self-care so that you can feed you so that you can feed others. You feed others better. Imagine going into that meeting and you're fueled up. You done read some scriptures on how God loves you. And I'm going to say this, and I pray this often when I pray over people, but I'm going to say this prayer, and I want you to know that every single word that I say in this prayer comes from the Bible. God says that you are the apple of his eye and the object of his affection. He delights in your prosperity. He has made you the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. You are blessed in your coming and blessed in your going. Nothing shall harm you. He has given you greater power than he has given to Satan, and therefore nothing can harm you. You are a daughter of the Most High King. You are a child of royalty. You are co-heirs with Christ. Christ is interceding on your behalf, and God has given you witty ideas to produce wealth so that you can live a life of contribution and leave a legacy in this earth. All of that is scripture. And if you want what all those scriptures are, then whatever platform you're on, DM me. Send me leave something in the comments. Tell me something to say. I want those scriptures. And baby girl or baby boy, I will go through and I will outline those scriptures, and you can go back and play it and say, yep, that's right. This is what this scripture said. This is what this scripture said. And so you want to prioritize self-care. Now, you go into a meeting after you done read through those scriptures and you done girded yourself up in the love of God, and then you go into a meeting and they're acting crazy. Let me tell you what, if it wasn't for the love of God, me and my male friend would already be done. But God has given me a great deal of patience with regards to this particular individual, a patience he's never given me for another man before. From this day to this day, I've never had this level of patience with one individual. And so I know that God is doing a work in me because I have spent the time on the altar. I've spent the time laying my pain before God and saying, fix me, because he's the only one who can. So I really want you guys to understand that prioritizing your self-care is not selfish. It's how you live selflessly. Okay. And another very common one is setting boundaries. So I don't spend a whole lot of time on it, but let me tell you something about boundaries. Boundaries are set so that you can have work-life balance. Now, you have to decide what are hard boundaries, what are soft boundaries. A soft boundary for me is all of my coaching sessions are scheduled to be 75 minutes. But if my clients need me beyond 75 minutes, then guess what? They got me beyond 75 minutes, because I'm not a therapist. I'm not sitting there watching the clock to see, is it 5 minutes before we need to end this, and let me do my notes so I can get it over to billing so that we can get billed to get the billing to the insurance company. That is not what I do. This is a heart business for me. So when I show up to the table, I'm chasing a breakthrough, and breakthrough don't take all day. Breakthrough takes as long as it takes for you to make a decision. What is the longest healing in the Bible? Somebody please tell me, what is the longest healing in the Bible? If you think about it, the longest healing in the Bible is the lepers, or are the lepers who were healed as they walked. Thank you, Angela. I'm glad you're enjoying the steak dinner tonight. That the lepers were healed as they walked. If I remember correctly, there was 10 lepers that God healed. Jesus healed them, right? And as they walked, they were healed. And then only one came back and showed gratitude. Only one came back and said, thank you. And God said, only one of you came back, but weren't 10 of you healed? That shows us that we got to have gratitude. I'm telling you, it was two people, and I'm gonna call them out by name. They're gonna get mad at me because both of them was private. Two people helped me get through this week with my cousin dying. My girlfriend Kim. When I tell you, if you don't have a spiritual family like a Kimberly in your life, you are missing out, because that chick holds me down. She texted me yesterday and she said, have you left the house, and when's the last time you ate? because she knows how I get when I go into a cave. Caves aren't healthy for me. Caves are a place where I go to die. And she made sure that I came back out of that cave. And I'm not going to say the other person's name because of other reasons, but he knows who he is and he watches a lot of my lives. Much love to you. He has his whole world turned upside down, and he still found time to check on me, to come by, to make sure I was okay, to let me cry on his shoulder, to give me a different perspective. And I told him, I said, you're the only person on this earth that is stronger than me, that I know. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that are strong, but this particular gentleman, what he and I have gone through in life, and that's separately, we have gone through in life, would have broken most people. And they definitely have stood by me to make sure that I didn't fall into a hole. And I'm going to tell you guys what, if you have friends in your life that have ever suffered from major depression, check on them, because depression may go dormant, but it doesn't go away. It will come back if you give it a door in. And grief oftentimes is a door in. And so they checked on me, pulled me out. Guess what? Because I had to teach on Monday night, I had to get up. I had to get my mind together. I spent 4 hours in my Bible preparing to teach that Bible study on Monday night. And School of Discipleship on Monday night. And it refueled me and it got me together. But I go to get in my car and my car won't start again. Now, y'all know last Tuesday my car wouldn't start. But let me tell you about gratitude. Spiritual family and gratitude. I started thanking God. Thank God I got insurance. Thank God the battery's on warranty. Thank God that there's good ethical shops around my house that I can go to have my car looked at. Now, one of them charged me $80 just to tell me it wasn't my starter and that they couldn't fix my problem. So y'all don't go to Swanee service station over on Lawrenceville, Swanee, and what is that? Satellite. It's right in front of the Walmart. Yep, I am throwing shade because I felt like you should have told me that it's going to be $89 for you to tell me what my electrical system looked like, because I could have went over to Advanced Auto and gotten that same analysis for free. That was a ripoff. So, but God took care of me. Let me tell you how God took care of me, because I then turned around. When you know you're loved by God, you know you're cared for by God. I turned around and I drove over to another place. We're not going to tell you the long story because I had to go through 2 more dips before I got to Jose, who was down in Norcross. And let me tell you, his shop wasn't fancy and it wasn't air conditioned. But when I tell you, Jose got up under that car and handled my issues and then tell me, oh, it wasn't that big a deal. Don't worry about it. Didn't want to charge me a dime. You know what? I pulled out a C note and said, thank you. And said, thank you. Because he said, you don't have to pay me. I was like, yes, I'm gonna pay you. You spent time. I'm going to give you something. You gave me something of value, and I'm going to give you something of value back. That's respecting people's value that they give you. Okay. And it comes back. So even though Swanee service station gypped me and ripped me off, Jose made up the difference. And at the end of the day, where I thought I may have to spend anywhere from $500 to $1,200, I ended up spending $100 to get the problem fixed and $100 on getting ripped off from somebody who charged me for something that I could have went and got done for free. But neither here nor there. I've done my little due diligence and I've said what I said, and you guys can go check them out and see if they rip you off. They may not rip you off, but they surely ripped me off today. Nonetheless, I got grateful after I left there. When I left Jose, I was getting ready to text a friend of mine and say, these dudes out here is just messing me around. But you know what? God said, don't say that. That's when Jose fixed the car. He said, it's fixed, this, that, and the other. He said, don't worry about it. It was pretty simple once I figured it out. I gave him some money and I was on my way. I'm so glad I didn't complain to my friend about how I was being jerked around from these shops, and somebody took care of me. So thank you, Jose. I appreciate you. And if I could remember your business name, I would tell you what it was, but I would tell you it's right over there off of Buford Highway by Pull Apart. Doesn't look like much, but they up there doing work, and they're doing a good work. So ladies, go check them out. Okay, so with that being said, we want to have a life of gratitude. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because we all hear it all the time, but do we do it? Do you always find the silver lining in everything? Hey, Angela, I'm going to get those to you. I think I still have your email address. If not, you have my cell phone number. Please send me a text and let me know what your email address is, and I'll email that to you before the end of the week. And I got you. I got all your information, so I'll go ahead and get that those scriptures over to you. I'm so glad you enjoyed the prayer. And you know what? Go back, listen to that prayer point, write that down, and say that over your life as often as you feel discouraged or as often as you need your love tank filled up. So now I think that I have time for, let's see, man, I got so many tools here. Oh, I have to do this. Okay, we talked about the life buckets tool: work, family, health, passion, faith. Assess each of those buckets and see which ones are overflowing, which ones are running dry. Adjust your focus to rebalance. Now, the other one is energy mapping. Oh, lots of coaches use this in different forms, but many people don't understand it, and it surprises me. Okay, so I like to call it the flow state. So when you get into a flow state, it's when you match your energy and your focus at the same time so you can get a synergy of production. You match your energy with your focus so you can get a synergy of production. So I believe that in a flow state, you can get more done in 4 hours than you could in 10 hours when you're in a flow state. That is, and so what makes something a flow state? One, you first have to identify when is your energy most high? Are you most creative in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening? I'm a night person, so come about 9 o'clock at night, all my cylinders get to flowing, right? That's about 9 o'clock at night. About 10 o'clock, I kind of get functional, okay? In the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm functional. About 3:30, I am like, okay, I feel like I've been drinking from from a fire hydrant. Okay, I'm overwhelmed. So I usually take my lunch around that time, and I kind of take a break and whew, bring it all back together, right? So you kind of need to observe, how does your energy flow? When are you most creative? When are you able to focus the most? When are you distracted the most in your thoughts, right? Because we have learned how to control our distractions by making sure that our notifications aren't going haywire. And so when we look at energy mapping, when we find out we're a morning person or we're an afternoon person or whatever type of person we are, when we find that out, what we want to do is we want to schedule our most difficult projects during that time. The projects that need concentration and focus, you want to do it during that time. Okay, because you're going to be more creative, you're going to have creative problem solving, you're going to have greater focus, and you're going to have a greater energy. And you put all of those together, you're going to have heightened productivity. And some people call it the deep work, making time to do the deep work. I call it the focus zone. And I try to get into a focus zone at least 2 hours of every day. When you get into those focus zones, you're going to get more work done. How do you create a focus zone? 1, you get rid of distractions. 2, you put your phone on do not disturb. 3, you don't look at your phone. You only have the software up that you need. That means that if you don't necessarily need email, trust me, ain't nobody's hair going to catch on fire if you don't answer them in 2 seconds flat. Real estate agents be like, no, I got you. They'll go to another real estate agent. If you build enough relationship and trust with them, I have real estate agents that I coach that their clients will not go anywhere else but to them. Because when you build relationship, you build stickiness. And with stickiness, you build longevity. And with longevity, you have clients for life, right? And so Does that mean that, yeah, you may lose some? Yeah, that just means fills your funnel full, so that if you lose some because they can't respect your boundaries, then it's okay, because you have a great set of clientele that will respect your boundaries, that allows you to protect your time and to protect your peace. Get into a focus zone. And when you get there, stay there. Don't let anything distract you. When you start, like for me, when I first started doing focus zone, all kinds of ideas would come up, things I had to do. Oh, you really need to do this. Oh, you need to go fix this. Oh, you need to do this in the database. So guess what? I have what is called a master to-do list. This is my master to-do list. My master to-do list is where I have it open right next to me when I'm doing deep work. And whenever something comes up, I just write it down. Put a box next to it, write it down. So I've dumped it from my head to the paper, and so it stops nagging me. Then what I do is when I'm out of a deep work, I'll look at what I wrote down, and then I'll decide, okay, these are the two that I'm going to do tomorrow, and I'll kind of plan out when I'm going to do those action steps, right? And so I have a day timer and a planner, and I plan those steps out that came up during my deep work time. When you start doing that, you'll find yourself having greater levels of concentration, okay? And so you really want to be able to get into the energy zone. So with all of that being said, hopefully I have given you a steak dinner on how to win from the bedroom to the boardroom. Protect your time so you can protect your peace. So we talked about energy mapping. We talked about the life buckets tool. We talked about setting clear boundaries, the order of love, prioritizing self-care. That self-care is not selfish, it's how we live selflessly. We talked about the priority of faith. We've talked about different tools. And I want to remind you of the threefold cord of goal achievement, which comes from the goal achievement series that I did before this series. Well, no, I did the side hustle series. That was only 3. And then before that, I did, I think, 8 on goal achievement. But the threefold cord of goal achievement is grit, tenacity, and resilience. You need all 3 of those in order for you to win from the bedroom to the boardroom. And when I say win from the bedroom to the boardroom, we're talking about winning personally and winning professionally. And so I hope with all that you have given to you today, that in the next 24 to 48 hours, you will implement something so that you can really form the diamond that is on the inside of you, so that you can shine with all of your brilliance to all of the world. And if you are interested in springing forward, we are launching tomorrow via email. If you're in my email list, you're going to get something about this. In my email list, you are going to get an invitation to come and join the Spring Forward coaching program. This is a one-on-one coaching program. So each person gets me as their coach for 5 weeks to coach you through springing forward into your next level of living. Okay. Now, this is at a discounted rate for a very short, specific time. Today was the last day that you could sign up and get a clarity session at a discounted rate. And this Spring Forward is replacing that clarity coaching session. That was one 90-minute session where you walked away with a goal achievement blueprint. I offered that after I finished the Goal Achievement Blueprint series. So now we're doing the Spring Forward series. And this Spring Forward series is all about getting you 5 sessions for you to begin to get momentum in moving forward. Please schedule a discovery call with me. You can simply go to, where is it? My Breakthrough for Life website is right here. You can go to breakthroughforlife.com, click on Contact Us, and you'll see a calendar right there. Click it, schedule an appointment, answer those questions. If you sign up, all I ask is that you show up. Or you can give me a call and we can chat real quick, but I'm still going to send you over to the link to schedule a free discovery call. That discovery call is 100% free, and we're going to craft a custom coaching journey specifically for you. And we are going to move forward, hitting the ground running. So I hope that you will take advantage of that. I am so glad to have come and given you this steak dinner on how to win from the bedroom to the boardroom, how you can protect your peace and protect your time. So we also talked about the 8, 8, and 8 of 24 hours and how that can help you further grow in protecting your time. And so let's see what people have to say. 8 great today. Thank you so much, Angela. Please join us next Tuesday at 7:30, where I will be continuing the series. And Ann shares, yes, great brain food tonight. Thank you, Brenda. I am so glad that you guys enjoyed it. Please comment, send me DMs, and let me know, what do you want me to do a series on next after we go through the work-life balance? I hope that everyone has a fabulous night, and I'm off to decompress. You guys have a good one. Peace and love. Bye-bye.